What is the relationship between tachyon radiation and the formation of wormholes in the author's cosmological model? For one thing, tachyons do not radiate, they emanate. This distinction may seem trivial, yet it is essential to understanding the distinct difference between all other forms of energy on the electromagnetic spectrum below light speed and tachyons as the sole form of illumination at velocities above light speed. While all lesser forms of energy radiate, tachyons emanate. Photons, for example, are a real particle or boson, and this means that a continuously flowing stream of them is required to propagate a light ray in outer space or in the laboratory. So, a ray of light is actually a series of photons in a sustained beam, emitted from a constant, such as a star, or controllable, like a bulb, light source. This is the nature of all radiation, whether photons or gamma rays, etc., that it has a continuous source and that it is comprised of discrete parcels of data called quanta. Compared to radiation as a curvilinear wavelength, emanation is a co-circumferential series of ripples along a spherical wavefront. Again, this distinction may seem subtle, but it is this difference between photon radiation and tachyon emanation that establishes the former as entropic decay and the latter as light without heat. The best way to realize the meaning of tachyon emanation, as opposed to photon radiation, is to compare and contrast the shapes and natures of these forces quanta. A photon is essentially spherical, insofar as it possesses spin in three directions of motion. One, around its equator between its twin poles. Two, precessional wobble or axial tilt as the actual poles wander rather than maintaining a stationary location. And finally, three, past vector and future trajectory motion or spin as a sinusoidal wavelength. A tachyon, on the other hand, is essentially a torus. It possesses spin in four directions of motion, 1 through 3 being the same as the combined motions of the sphere, and 4 involution, the counter-rotation of the torus radii into and out of the centroid point between them. In involution, the twin opposite sides of the tube-torus work like interlocking gears, such that while one side is rotating clockwise, the opposite side is rotating counterclockwise. Because these two components inside the single toroidal-shaped tachyon both rotate in opposite directions to each other, this shape conserves interior spin and counterspin to zero. However, as mentioned, emanation also treats this sort of toroidal quantum similarly to a real particle photon, in that the tachyon also can have polar-equatorial or dipolar spin, axial tilt or precessional spin, and projected trajectory or past vector spin, and still express its own unique form of counter-rotational or involutional spin as well. So, taken in isolation, a singular tachyon will simply sit and involute for perpetuity, canceling out its spin and counterspin, but it will never move about in any other directions unless acted upon by exterior forces and caused to do so. At this point, if the equatorial edge of one tachyon is aimed at the polar hole of another, this process may be used to expand this tachyon's polar hole into a wormhole.